Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I'm Bancroft, being joined once again by Jake, Jason, and like always, Fluff.
What's going on,
What's
guys?
going on, y'all?
Hey, what's up, people?
And keep in mind, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them, they're there for a reason. But today's matchup, we got Jake back with King Cole taking on Jason with Towa. I know Jason's been piloting Towa for the last couple of weeks, kind of getting the hang of it. You finally stepped away from Red Broly, and you're diving yourself into I'm going to say a more complicated deck, but I've never actually played Towa, so I can't say for sure.
It's as like starting off right now. It's a little complicated for me just because I'm so used to playing Red Broly, and this plays completely different. But it is definitely fun learning this deck.
Well, with that being said, hope you all enjoy. Guys, take it away.
So,
All right.
you were just talking about how Toa has been fun to play. What do you enjoy about the deck the most right now compared to Red Broly that you're so famous for?
The options that I can go in my deck and get different cards with different names and play them, and I don't have to like necessarily go for one particular card. I can go pretty much for several different cards instead of just going after the like one Red Broly and going to the next Red Broly. I like the options that I can go to.
Yeah, this is a much more flexible deck where Broly kind of goes one way. It has a lot of really powerful blockers that it can sit back on.
I was definitely going to make the observation that I feel like Toa is a lot more complicated than Red Brawly. Red Brawly has generally a pretty linear play style by comparison. Toa has a lot of flexibility and decision making throughout the game, so it can definitely be harder to pick up.
Yeah, it's definitely taking me a little longer to pick up than it did Red Broly, but it's still fun.
Absolutely. Jake, we've seen your video, or we've seen your deck this week. Jason, tell us a little bit about the Toa deck. Is this a standard Toa, or do you have something going on with it? Something new?
No, I did take out a few cards. Like you'll see that I'm not playing any of the Najimba cards in the deck at all. And I did run a couple more Broly's. I run 4 pretty much of everything in the deck that I have. So like the Lord Slug 2-drop, I run 4 of those, and then the 9-drop I run 4. Both Friezas I run 4 of. So that's pretty much the only thing different than I did. I had Seth actually give me, because we ended up buying the starter deck, and he ended up giving me 4, like the copies of his that he wasn't going to use. That's why I run 4 of everything.
Okay.
A solid choice just to get a little bit more consistency.
Yeah.
So what is each of your all's strategy moving forward in this? So we see King Cold's putting the field up. Jake, you're pretty familiar with the Toa strategy. What's your game plan here?
I've tried to some kind of field presence before he goes into drop slug. So I'm trying to avoid attacking in situations where he can block with this slug with open energy. I play Unstoppable Invasion just to kind of get a little bit more advantage from the leader. I lose Double Strike when I awaken, which is kind of annoying, but I get to keep the 10k power on the backside.
Yep.
So here, I kind of make the decision that I'm just going to have to get this slug out of the way, and I just attack. But luckily, he doesn't block with it on that occasion, which was probably smart, knowing that I've got 2 open energy and being uncertain of what I can do to the 9 once it hits the table. Although I think it has deflect, right?
No, actually, I can't remember off the top of my head if it does or not. I don't think that it does. I think it has barrier.
Okay.
I could be wrong, though. But yeah, I was kind of waiting to get my life down to 4 before I used the blocker, just so I could pull Slug out, and then awakened. That way I have, he's a double blocker, and then if I needed to use a negate, I would have a negate available. I wasn't for sure how hard you were going to hit since you had so much energy open still.
Yeah, really, it's more a case of like I just didn't have very much to play aggressively. Like I have this King Cold negate, but I didn't really have too much to spend energy wise on my turn. Like we saw, I pulled the secret rare off of New Ruler, and I didn't really want to play that this early in the game. I was just worried you were going to remove it with something. So I kind of just had to stall out here and save my energy for defense.
Yeah, I think once you kind of stalled out a little bit, it kind of like stalled myself out too. We actually took our time on this game. It actually went pretty far.
Yeah, we were both playing pretty cautious because I kind of remembered the Towa list, but I wasn't really certain of like what you could do, and I wasn't 100% on what.
King Cold is the type of deck that you kind of want to just sit back and let your opponent create a window for you to just abuse. And I really feel like to a degree, Towa is a lot of the same.
Yeah,
Because, Towa is going to want to strategically place that 9-drop on the field and then, use that to punish the opponent, get the Boo on the field, get the Frieza out, so that, the Boo's going to make it so that they have to deal with the Boo before they can go into the lead without losing hand resource. The Frieza, if I believe, is really good at sniping unisons off the field, which I would say is one of the weaker aspects of King Cold.
yeah, the Unison lineup can be kind of fragile, especially with that Frieza on board.
Yeah.
I think both of us didn't see either one of our Unisons for a while.
Yeah, you see, turn 3, and neither one of us have played Unisons in both of our decks. I mean, we saw a second ago you were able to play that 9-drop Slug off the top with that Majin Buu, and being able to have that huge blocker and also the punishing effects from the Buu really to tap out here. It's really hard for me to get through your army of block plus taxation on the Buu.
Yeah, that Boo is really strong for that deck.
Yeah, if a player doesn't have a response to that Boo, it can be incredibly difficult for the player to kind of overcome. And that's really one of the telling tells. Do they have a clean way to deal with Slug? Do they have a clean way to deal with Boo? And I think that is, that's the make or break in this matchup.
Yeah, and I actually I saved Boo for being KO'd at least a couple of times. I was just basically trying to get rid of as many cards out of his hand as possible. Trying to get rid of his resources on him trying to kill one card. Then once he did KO, I felt pretty comfortable because I had the double blocker and I still had the other Lord Sled blocker as well. And then if I had to, I'd let the 9-drop go, use the 2-drop, and then bring the 9-drop back out. So I was pretty confident that I would be able to survive several turns.
And
that is the power of Towa there.
By not awakening aggressively, you set that whole thing up, and that would have been so sneaky. To block with the Slug, awaken, untap an energy, let the Slug and put another 9-drop out. That would have been huge had I kept going there.
Yeah, and that was my plan too, but you stopped attacking, and I was pretty surprised that you stopped. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll just keep going.
So I think I played this Kabito Kai a little bit early. Maybe it would have been a bit to swing out of his 9-drop here, so he can't block with it. But didn't have to the way of defense, and I just needed to stop these battle card attacks. Plus, keeping that Boo in active mode means it can't tax me on my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you liking the Kabito Kai in your list so far?
Every time I cast it, my opponent typically just passes the turn back to me, which is exactly what I want them to do in King Cold. Most people start their turn with a leader swing to draw a card or a small battle card swing to like look for a Nimbus or something. And if you just say no negates and let that go, then pay 2 and drop this Kai, really all they can do for the rest of their turn is set up defense or try and draw more cards because their battle cards can't turn sideways.
Yeah, that's and that's not something that you usually have to think about in the green matchup. I mean, I think we're kind of conditioned to function that way against yellow now.
Blue too with Baby Hatch.
Yeah, blue too with Baby Hatch, but it's not a mindset that you usually have to keep yourself in the green matchup. So that's a really interesting kind of interaction there.
I really like it in the defensive style King Cold builds.
Yeah.
If you saw right there, I almost used the second drop Lord Slug instead of using the 9 drop. I almost forgot what I was trying to do.
Yeah, those 9s are unique, so you can't put out 2, I don't think.
No, you can't. Pretty much everything in the deck is unique, which sometimes it can make it a little difficult to pick on which card you want to play. So there's where I dropped I'll let the 9 drop go. And I still had enough energy to pull the 9 drop back out.
The Towa field is so good at gridlocking the opponent out too. And like, think if it didn't have unique and you had like 3 boos on the field, all in rest mode. Like, what does your opponent even do about that?
Pass turn.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so like when Bancroft was talking to me earlier after this, the fact that I didn't put a red energy in my energy field, and I had I didn't get it until like almost the end of the game. So the fact that I only had 1 red card in my hand, which I think was a red Broly, I think I ended up discarding it, and then towards the very end of the match, I finally ended up getting it and not being able to use it. So I think that's what hurt me. Because if I was able to play him and then still had Boo on it, he would have to discard 4 cards. Just the swing.
Yeah. God, that would have been crazy. I really love the flexibility of Towa too, is you can build it so many different ways. Like, it looks like you're running a tricolor, because you said you cut out the Janemba parts.
Yeah.
So you're running the green, yellow, and red strategy, but you can build this deck however you want, and it functions really well. And I think like you're running the best of every color.
Yeah, I think by cutting out the Janemba stuff, you just get so much more consistency in playing the cards that you actually want to play. It just makes the deck that much better.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and I think it was Austin that told me that would be a good idea to take the Ninjambas out. Because taking all the blue cards out, I think, makes it run a little better.
Yeah, the Janembas do less than any other part of the deck, too. Like, they're fine cards. I mean, they're not trash cards by any means. But compared to what the other pieces do, it just doesn't hold a candle to what, the Boo and Slug offer the deck.
Definitely.
So I was surprised you negated there instead of spending a block, but it was pretty smart because it allowed you to put a little bit more combo power back in your hand.
Yeah, I was getting really low on cards in hand, I believe. I think at one point I only had 1 card in my hand your entire turn. So that allowed me to get another card out.
that is one of the downsides to Towa, especially if you don't see your unison until way later. I feel like the unison does a lot towards repairing the hand and diminishing the amount of hand resource required to actually play the game.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that I see the unison, because I do run 4 unisons in the deck, so it was kind of surprising that I didn't see one until towards the end.
Yeah. Here there's a little bit of a walk back. I accidentally declared later, then you reminded me about the boo tax, and I was like, you know what? I don't swing. You pick your card back up, it's okay. And it doesn't really change the game state, because I knew it was in his hand from Power Burst. So it's not like I was fishing for information.
So would you opt to then try to get
Swing
rid of
at
the
the
boo?
boo?
Try to get the boo out.
Yeah, but I felt like he was letting me get away with enough already that I just chose not to.
Yeah.
You know, he was kind enough to let me take back the swing. I wasn't going to punish him for his kindness.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm still learning the deck, so
Clearly, so am I for getting.
So what is the win condition that you're going for in Towa? Is it to just try to like resource out your opponent and grind them out through the game, or is there something that you're shooting for, like searching for on your draws?
Well, at this point, I'm trying to get rid of as much cards in his hand as possible, and then I right there I played the double strike, Frieza, and I was hoping that he didn't have enough cards to combo out. Just to try to end game right there.
At this point, both of our hand sizes are pretty small.
Yeah, and if you can see, I have like 2 negates in my hand. I only have 3 cards, so.
King Cold can be extremely resilient. It can be at times extremely difficult to get down from their life. With their free negates, they run a fair amount of blockers. The leader's ability to combo 10 by blowing up a field card, which nets you some additional form of advantage. It can actually be really hard to get through on the King Cold player until they want you to.
Yeah, we talked about that some in our last video as well, about how just the sheer volume of negates King Cold has gives it almost like a blue baby vibe.
Yeah.
Here he goes ahead and blocks with the 9-drop, which is very smart. It may look like Jason is in an awkward position here, but this 9-drop blocker is such a bear to get over. It's making me really consider how to order my turn.
Yeah. This is one of those situations where your opponent has kind of set up a puzzle for you, and you have to figure out how to traverse the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the difficult parts about playing against Towa, is they have so many branching paths that they can take. And then on top of the boo, you just put a protector of the people out. I mean, that makes it even worse.
Let's just further complicate things.
Yeah, I didn't know if I should play that first and then use the blocker, but I knew as long as you were swinging at boo, it didn't really matter when I played the negate.
I think that was a fine spot to play it. I really didn't expect it there, and it's really going to complicate the rest of my turn.
Does protector, like, does the attack target have to be the leader for it to get the boost, or is it just any time a battle card swings?
No, it has to be the leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I declare attack and then he blocks, he still gains the boost because I declared the attack.
Absolutely.
So here, unison that I'd like to play on turn 2. This game was just very interesting. So here I'm going 20, trying to remove the boo. Now he still has 4 life. I'm under protector of the people. With this striker on field, I may just give him enough combo power to survive and kill me if I do this wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just pulled out of my life the Super Kamamion, which doesn't help me at all for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Even though this Frieza's energy cost is reduced to the window of Super, he's got Deflect.
Yeah, which is really good. That Frieza is beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I just showed Bancroft the card and asked him.
Yeah, for clarification's sake, that's what occurred just then. He
Yeah.
asked if he could do it, and I'm like, in normal situations, you could do it. I didn't. I think Jake was like, oh, thanks for telling me you have Super Kamehameha.
I was like, nice Super. Yeah.
And this is where Jake pulls my move and pulls out the Overrealm card.
Yeah. We talk about this Bardock often. It's just one of the better Overrealm options in the game, and I'm glad it's being reprinted in some capacity. It needs to be in a reprint set. Like, it's one of those things like Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts, where it's just such a generic effect that everybody should have access to it.
With that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. Like always, there's buttons down below and on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
Videos. It might be something that you'll actually enjoy. Hopefully you haven't seen them before. But if you have, thanks for watching our shit. Jimmy and I have actually talked about the Bardock, that it should have just been like an SR in the set. Or something like that. Like that, it really is one of those types of cards that should have been available to everyone. But again, thank you. Read your cards, know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. And as always, Fluff out.